This week, we witnessed something this country has never seen before: a former president and current presidential candidate arraigned on criminal charges. So what will this all mean for Donald Trump's third bid for the White House? Well, since the unsealing of the indictment, Republicans have really coalesced around him, echoing his sentiment that they believe the investigation into him is politically motivated. We all know political races are about cash nowadays. Trump's 2024 campaign says they've brought in more than $12 million in donations just since news of his indictment. And the polls are reflecting a boost to his campaign as well. This is a Reuters online poll of about 700 Republicans. 48% said Trump should be the nominee in 2024. That's up from their poll taken before the indictment. And second was Florida Governor Ron DeSantis at 19%, down quite a bit from their last poll. Now, DeSantis isn't officially in the race, though many expect him to be. He has also proven to be a strong fundraiser as well. But how may this recent boost to Trump impact his plans? I talked with Peter Schorsch, publisher of Florida Politics, to get some insight. Peter, a lot of the talk, obviously, in the past couple of weeks have been about Trump's indictment and then his arraignment. Obviously not a good thing to be involved in, legally speaking, but politically, I mean, how do you think this impacts things as he goes for his third bid for the White House?
It's improving his bid for the White House. If you look at both the pre-indictment polling and the post-indictment polling, he's surging. I always look at what the sports books are doing. They're giving him better odds right now. Meanwhile, Ron DeSantis, I think, is kind of frozen out from attacking Trump at this point, from gaining ground right now. And so we're seeing Donald Trump widen his lead over Ron DeSantis going into various state-by-state polls, whether it be Texas, Iowa. I saw one out of Arizona. They're all looking good for Donald Trump.
And let's talk about fundraising, too, because I saw the Trump campaign saying they've taken in around $10 million since the indictment news came out. Any surprises there? Do you think that number will continue to tick up at a bigger rate than they were seeing earlier?
Yeah, nobody raises money better from their small dollar donor base than Donald Trump. Put it this way, Donald Trump raised more money in the period that since when he was indicted, than he did in the entire first quarter since he announced his presidential campaign. He raised more money in a week than he did in 3 months.
And let's circle back to DeSantis, because before the indictment, we really started to see Trump kind of start to put the pressure on DeSantis, coming out with a statement, it seemed like every other hour, basically attacking him. And you talked a little bit about it there, but how does this indictment news, and we kind of see some of the Republicans that you wouldn't expect kind of coalescing around Trump, saying this investigation was more political than anything, how do you think this impacts kind of DeSantis's plans to actually get into the race at some point?
I honestly believe that for the first time ever, and I still put him at 90% chance that he's going to run, I believe there is some conversation that Ron DeSantis may have to wait until 2028 to run for president. It just does not look like he is going to be able to get past Donald Trump. Remember, Donald Trump is probably going to be appearing in a courtroom in January, just as Iowa caucus voters are casting their ballots. I don't see DeSantis able to dislodge the always Trumpers away from Donald Trump at this point. So it's going to be very difficult. I think it's going to be a long summer for Ron DeSantis as he campaigns today and over the weekend. He's in Michigan. He's got to keep doing that kind of thing. But it is going to be a slog for Ron DeSantis.
And you've worked on campaigns before, and there's not necessarily an established Ron DeSantis for president campaign right now. But what do you think the conversations are going on in his inner circle as it comes to, discussing some of these things?
Talking to some of his closest advisors, I will say they are not changing their plans. I think that they have a date circled on the calendar when they would like to announce, and they are not changing plans. They're still going with book tours. They're still he's going to be speaking to the Utah GOP soon. I think they're going to continue to do that. Meanwhile, he's going to continue to rev up the culture wars. I think once the legislature gets back from its Easter and Passover break, I think you're going to see a flurry of legislation and bill signings that continue to put Ron DeSantis in the news.
And timeline-wise, you still put it at 90% chance he actually jumps into this race. Timeline-wise, are we still expecting after session comes to a close in May? Is that kind of what the thinking is?
I've been circling Memorial Day weekend like I'm a movie producer with a big Transformers movie coming out. I think that would be a great weekend for Ron DeSantis to announce the red, white, and blue bunting behind him, just gobble up all of the attention. Do it before people start breaking and holidaying in June and July. I'm still circling Memorial Day weekend.
And speaking of the legislature, a lot of talk, obviously, the past couple of weeks. Are they going to reform their resign to run law as it stands now? Do you think that's imperative? Do you think they will do it? Do you think they have to do it for DeSantis to actually throw his hat in the ring?
I don't think that they have to do it. I kind of agree with Kathleen Passidomo, the Senate president, who's like, I don't even know if we have to do this. If Ron DeSantis asks for it, they will do it. There is an elections bill that was filed late Monday. That's there. It's a 92-page bill, so that they have a vehicle in place. I would not be surprised if a Ron DeSantis acolyte, like a Blaise Ignolia or something like that, slaps on an amendment just to make it, just to offer that clarity. But right now, I think they're trying to keep that target out of the media, trying to keep it so that it doesn't look like Ron DeSantis is asking for it.
All right, Peter, I appreciate the insight as always. Thank you.